In India, we really rely on the chemist sales staff for the last minute advice,
Yes.
even if you've gone to a doctor. So we were seeing sales of this one particular chemist chain really go down while all other chains were increasing. And weren't able to understand why at all. So we started sending, we told our MRs that, hey, listen, why don't you go and visit them more often? Why don't you ask them what the issue is? We thought, okay, maybe they don't have enough marketing material. We gave them marketing material. We gave them, pamphlets, everything. We gave them did a full training. Um, and then in the end, we later find out that okay, they're not pushing it because other companies are giving them more money. So it is just it's a money issue. But we had already stretched our the margin we could give to the max of our abilities, and it was just not financially possible to give more.
But you said an interesting point on, problems. When you look at a problem, it's, that's just a symptom of the bigger problem, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you have multiple symptoms out there, and then, you drill down, take the bucket, bucket them into, to narrow it down to figure out what the actual, problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give an
Mm-hmm.
example from your consulting experience, or probably Qurist, when you looked at this particular problem, you saw the symptom of it, right? That you are not able to
Mm-hmm.
import, you are importing that as a challenge there. What was the symptom? If you have an example for us to talk about, can you please talk about it? Yeah?
Okay, let me think.
Take your time. Take your time.
Sure. Just give me a minute. Um, okay. So we started offline distribution, right? That's being available at chemists across India. And we have medical reps who go and visit these chemists and they check up and go like, hey, how's the interest on the product? How's the sales going? And with chemist shop, what very often happens is that the sales staff is the one who's really helping the customer out, and what is right for you, what's not okay. Hey, this mild variant may be too mild, strong maybe too strong, maybe you should go for medium. In India, we really rely on the chemist sales staff for the last minute advice,
Yes.
even if you've gone to a doctor. So we were seeing sales of this one particular chemist chain really go down while all other chains were increasing. And weren't able to understand why at all. So we started sending, we told our MRs that, hey, listen, why don't you go and visit them more often? Why don't you ask them what the issue is? We thought, okay, maybe they don't have enough marketing material. We gave them marketing material. We gave them, pamphlets, everything. We gave them did a full training. Um, and then in the end, we later find out that okay, they're not pushing it because other companies are giving them more money. So it is just it's a money issue. But we had already stretched our the margin we could give to the max of our abilities, and it was just not financially possible to give more. So we got very stuck, right? So we were like, okay, there seems to be no solution to this. But what was the main problem? The main problem was the salespeople weren't incentivized enough. It wasn't that they weren't getting enough money. It wasn't that the boss of the chemist chain was saying that, hey, listen, we need more sales. It was that they weren't incentivized or invested in the brand enough. So we came up with a quick and cheap solution, which we could handle within our budget, which is giving out, pens branded with Qurist, notepads branded with Qurist. We gave sales staff 500 rupees PVR vouchers so they can watch a movie with their wives or their kids. Um, and these are relatively cheap ideas because they'll cost about 300, 400, 500 rupees per sales staff. There are three or four in any chemist. But as opposed to, giving out an increased margin, but it really seemed to work. The main problem was that the sales staff was just not invested in our brand. And we made them invested by giving them small freebies, so like this 20 rupee pen, 100 rupee Qurist branded notebook, um, PVR tickets, Amazon vouchers. We gave some of them Bluetooth headphones from this brand called Noise. Yeah, we basically identified what the main problem was. It wasn't money. Uh, it was commitment
Appreciation,
to the
is it?
brand. Yeah, appreciate
Getting
exactly.
them.
Actually, appreciation,
No, because when you give a pen and
feeling like they're valued.
yeah, they're being valued to do the stuff or do sell the brand, right? Because we
Exactly.
we work with a company called Pharma. Their main business is B2B, from distributor to retailer. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
distributors, they have a system. They have connected the retailers, medical retailers, to the distributors can place orders
Mm-hmm.
from the retailers can place orders from the distributors, right, through a mobile app. All of that system is
Okay.
online.
Mm-hmm.
They organize that sector. From there,
Mm-hmm.
what we have understood, the whole industry, the pharma industry, operates on cashback and incentive model. So we have a
Right.
product separately for them called retailer incentivization system. Wherein
Mm-hmm.
they buy a certain product. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
it could be from Sun Pharma. They have to buy 10 quantity in this month, or have an invoice value of 2,000 or more. Now I think that's
Mm-hmm.
that's where if you understand, they have to place order. First is they must have your stock, right? Qurist stock
Mm-hmm.
with them for the
Mm-hmm.
medical store sales guy to sell your product. Now if the owner is only buying the product from your competitor or the alternatives, then the
Mm-hmm.
stock won't be available. You won't be able to sell. That's so the whole
Exactly.
of the pharma. It ultimately comes down to the retailer. If he tells owner there is a huge demand for Curist, they'll place an order for Curist, right?
Exactly.
The supply chain, if it's not available, it won't sell. They won't sell it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I mean,
Exactly.
by working in these kind of industries, especially in B2B, working with these kind of retailers, because direct to consumer is very different. You run ads, you have people coming and
Mm-hmm.
buying your product. But if you go into
Mm-hmm.
offline distribution, it's a different ball game altogether. You don't realize, you can't talk to the medical store owner. You have to talk to the as you rightly said, the medical sales staff. They want to just feel valued,
Yeah.
right? And then they'll start
Exactly.
talking about it. Yeah. Awesome, yeah. This was an interesting insight into how to look at the problem and actually identifying the real problem from the symptom that you said. From symptom to the exact major problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Thanks for sharing it. Coming to your business, Qurist, you got online. You have
Mm-hmm.
now you are at how many people do you have in the company right now? How many
About
team
12.
members?
12
12
full
people.
time.
So 12 full time. Acha. And you have part time people as well.
Yeah, we have some people part time, some people who are freelancers, work remotely. There are about 10 to 15 of those.
Acha. So this is mostly, I'm assuming, the freelancers are medical representatives, MRs. Your
No, MRs are full time.
Acha.
Um, it's freelancers are, for example, the person who's handling search engine optimization, website developer.
Acha.
These are,
You're on Shopify, right?
yeah, we're on Shopify.
Acha. You probably don't need much of a work there, right?
Mm,
Website.
yeah, just maintenance.
Okay. So you spend on ads. What's your main channel of customer acquisition?
So initially when we started, so the thing is medical cannabis is you can't do ads. We can't,
Is it?
just uh, I mean, if it says cannabis in the ad, then you can't promote it.
Okay.
Instagram will take it down.
Mhm.
So we don't do ads. Initially, we got uh, pretty popular through just word of mouth
Word of mouth.
because our SEO still took like a year to get into place. Now our primary channel is a lot of it is SEO, a lot of it is repeat customers, a lot of it is word of mouth, and a lot of it is offline distribution. So now it's become kind of broken up, which is good. Best not to put all your eggs in one basket. Um, we we don't get too many sales through Instagram. We do get a reasonable bit, but maybe about 15%.
Gotcha. Why not? I'm just thinking out loud. You immediately, you have started
Mm,
an offline distribution with a team of 12 people, as you understand,
mm.
12. But that's why I was asking, what's your team size? Because when you said MRs, you're essentially,
You need a very large size there.
you need a very large field sales team. They constantly have
Yeah.
to go in to the medical store owners, or probably distributors.
Mm,
Probably you're not even looking at them at this point, right? Because distributors can,
yeah.
you are acting as a distributor at this point for one of the products, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you
Exactly.
can't go there. So one category of there. So you have to directly reach out
Mm,
to these medical store owners
mm,
for your offline distribution before
mm,
jumping there. Because you are from an online business model, and you have word of mouth, right?
mm.
Did, couldn't you? I mean, did you explore referral program at all? To understand. Did you ever think about starting a referral program? Because if there is word of mouth, then
Mm-hmm.
amplifying that word of mouth through a referral program, it could be anything. The reward could be anything. But did you think about it?
No, that's a good point. We are considering adding a referral program onto our website. It's just the applications for them for the referral apps have been slightly complicated, and keeping track of referral points. I was a little unsure whether customers still do it because, for example, I went to Chayos and they also have referral points now. I keep getting
Chai,
messages every Chayos,
chayos, right, right.
and I think they've called tea leaves, or that's chai point, where you have 200 leaves. Each leaf is a referral point basically. But I was really wondering whether people really follow this, because if all brands have referral points and referral schemes, then it's
I know.
it
Yeah,
loses
that's.
value. It's too cumbersome.
But there are so many apps out there which are straightforward, and in your case, I think it's very
Mm,
straightforward. Instead of giving points, a direct reward.
mm.
Because, yeah, what is your repeat customer rate? Repeat rate of the customer? If
So touch wood, that's good. That's solid for us, and that's because we have solid product. It's about 32 to 35%.
and this is what's the average repeat cycle time,
Repurchase time
repurchase
between
time?
1.5 to 2 months.
1.5 2 months. Okay. So now, I mean, just there are so many apps on Shopify. Just one click, you can start. I mean, I'm
Mm,
just thinking out loud here because I have helped a lot of companies with their referral program, and one of the thing
mm,
that we have seen is it's always because you are too much focused on operations. The overall business
mm.
referral program, it goes down the priority list, right?